Hello friends, and welcome back to this channel where we talk about relationship. So in our last episode, we said the next video we shall be talking about solutions to abusive relationship. We are going to be dealing with just 6 points today, and these points are: number 1, acknowledge that the relationship is abusive. Number 2, give it the real name, that is, identify the type of abuse you are going through. Number 3, know that it is not your fault that you are being abused in that relationship. And number 4, do not excuse the abuse or the abuser. And number 5, talk to a professional. And then the last thing on the list, and which is most important, is be ready to move on. I'll be right back. We said number 1 point we shall be discussing is you should acknowledge that the relationship is abusive. That's the first thing to do, because you need to know what is wrong with you before you are able to say, okay, this is the solution. So you must be able to know that, okay, this relationship is abusive. And if you check our previous videos, we've talked about the different signs that will make you know if your relationship is abusive or toxic. So you must first of all acknowledge that this is an abusive relationship. This relationship is toxic. This relationship is not good for me. It's not good for my health and other things like that. So that's the number 1 thing. Acknowledge that the relationship is toxic. And the second point is give it the real name. That is, identify the type of abuse you are going through. Also, in our previous videos, as I said, we've identified the different types, not just the signs, but the different types of abusive relationship. So try to know, is it emotional? Is it sexual? Is it financial? Is it religious? No matter what it is, try to know the type of abusive relationship you are going through. Know what they are doing to you that make you to feel, okay, this relationship is abusive, because that is how you will be able to know how to get solution to your problem. And then the third thing is know that it is not your fault. Most of the time, the abuser make the victim feel as if, okay, it's your fault, it's because of something you are doing, that's why I'm treating you this way. But that's not the truth. They do that so that they keep you being there, feeling that, oh, if I can change, if I can change, if I can change. But let me tell you, you cannot change to suit your abuser. They will only continue to guilt trip you like that for you to feel it's your fault, and then you are struggling to change. But they are not making any efforts to change. So they will continue to abuse you. So acknowledge the fact that it's never your fault that they are abusive. It is not your fault that they are abusing you in that relationship. And the fourth thing to know is, do not excuse the abuser or the abuse. And this is one of the greatest mistakes that the victims make. You will hear something like, okay, he has anger issues, she has anger issue, he eats me because of what I've said, he's like that, even though it's not that bad, he loves me. No, people don't abuse who they love. That is one thing I want you to know. So try not to excuse the abuser or the abuse they are dishing out to you. In the end, it won't pay you. You are the one that will continue to suffer. So do not excuse the abuser or the abuse. And the fifth one is talk to a professional. When you are going through abusive relationship, or when you are in an abusive relationship, it's not just anybody you will talk to. I tell you, talk to a professional. And most of the time, the mistake we make, most of us runs to maybe pastors and all that. That does not make them professionals. Please look for a professional to talk to, number 1. Number 2, try as much as possible to open up to someone who can help you. maybe a family member, a friend, and if you feel it's your religious leader that can be of help to you in that situation, open up to someone who can help you. Because when you are keeping quiet in an abusive relationship, you are giving your abuser power to abuse you more, because they know that you will not talk about it. Already they have isolated you from people around you. So when you are not keeping quiet about the abuse, it's like you are helping them to do it. So please make sure, number one, you talk to a professional, or you talk to someone who can help you. Not just anybody. Talk to someone you can trust, who can be of help. Even when you cannot help yourself, they can rally round to get people to help you. So do not keep quiet when you are going through abusive relationship. We have instances of those who have kept quiet and they have ended up losing their lives. Don't let your story be another story that people will learn from, but learn from other people's story and speak out when you are going through abusive relationship. And the last but not the least, and the most important thing is, be ready to move on. Because if you have acknowledged it is abusive, you are not excusing them, you are not doing all that, if you are not leaving that abusive relationship, then all what you are doing is in vain. So, of course, it's not going to be easy, especially when you're already trauma bond. We shall talk about that in another video. When you're already trauma bond with them, you are not going to find it easy to take your leave. But I tell you, that will be one of the best choice you will ever make. That will be one of your best decisions. And I tell you, when you move on, of course, it's not going to be easy. There'll be moments of forth and back. There'll be moments you want to go back to them. In fact, there are times you may return to them. But make sure each time you go back, each time you descend, you are struggling again to rise again. Because I tell you solemnly, most of the time, the abusers don't change. They don't change their ways. They can pretend for some times, but the real self will always come out. And some will say, okay, wait, after marriage, he will change. After marriage, he will change. It's not like that. So please don't mislead yourself. No matter what you have done to get to this solution, if you are not moving out of the relationship, I tell you, you will continue to experience abuse, except if you yourself, you have seen that, okay, this person has changed. But I tell you, the change is just a bait to keep you in that relationship. So be ready to move on. When you have sought for help, when people around you are there to help you, you too be ready to get out of the relationship. Be ready to move on. So in our next episode, we shall be talking about what are those effects. What are the effects of abusive relationship on the victim? Till I come your way again, remain blessed.